from our friends over at ChildCan. Throughout the course of today and the rest of September, we will be directing people to their website to make donations, whether you make it financially or if you can just donate your time to help them run their events. Everything and anything you can do for them is much appreciated. So it's a great cause. Definitely make sure that you're checking that out. But boys, we have football back, and as you can see, Kaylin's excited.
Yes.
Rick literally like sped home from work to get here for this. So how we feeling, boys? Opening day, we're here. We got a lot of people that are gonna jump on here. We got a fantasy expert, we got a betting expert because the good folks at Coolbet Canada are actually sponsoring this event because our relationship with them has always been fantastic. So we always appreciate their support. But how we doing, boys?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm stoked. Like I love good football. You guys know that there's definitely going to be a lot of times this year I'm going to be cursing Buffalo's name. They're a contender. They're probably the favorite right now to the AFC. I'm excited to see, is LA going to have the hangover? Are they going to come out ready to go? Is Aaron Donald going to be pumped up and motivated to get that next championship? I mean, this is a whole lot of action happening in one game, man. So a hell of a start to the season for sure.
Well, yeah, you can't leave out the fact Von Miller, baby. Like he's back, like playing his old team right now. He just won a Super Bowl with, so lots to watch there. As well. Like I forgot how tough that loss was for Buffalo in the playoffs until I saw it a couple days ago. Losing with 13 seconds left to Mahomes. So they got a lot to prove this year. It's just so weird to see the Bills actually good because they've been bad my whole life. Yeah. Other than the early 90s. So the Super Bowl.
And even then, they were good, but they just could never really, pull it through, and they were always the joke at the NFL right?
For those who don't know, it did stand for "Boy, I love losing Super Bowls." At that point,
yeah.
So
yeah.
But I'm excited. We leave off where we started last time with SoFi Stadium, so it should be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know what, we talk about the Bills, and obviously that's where we're going to start. We're going to take a little bit of time, and we're going to focus on the game itself. Now, in preparation, because the good folks at Disney Plus have started putting 30 for 30 on there. I actually just watched four falls in Buffalo, and I got to tell you, like if you still hate the Bills after watching that, you don't have a heart. You're not you're not a good person. And the way that Scott Norwood was embraced, like we think of it now thinking like, the fans probably hated his guts. They did not. Yeah. They actually had a whole parade in front of City Hall and chanted his name after they lost the first one. And he came out and talked. He's very emotional. Wild story. But right now we open up. Very rarely the home team winning the Super Bowl is the underdog, but we have the Rams at a +2.5 versus the Bills here. What is your first expectation, opening drive here? Let's say the Rams get the ball. What are you looking for on the Bills defense?
Well, Tre'Davious White's out. That's a huge hit to them, right? Like, let's be serious. Like that, the guy shuts down not just like his area of the field; he shuts down like 2/3 of the field, right? So if he's not playing,
really quickly, John Hudson, I do think you're a good person. It was a general statement. keep going. Keep going, Kaylin.
So I'm interested to see, because we know that they're going to come out throwing the ball, right? Like Cam Akers did have a year off in the recovery. He was able to come back in the playoffs a little bit there. They've got Henderson, I think, has been practicing this week, so he's going to play. So they're going to run the ball. It's Rams' ball, right? But they're going to air it out too. And are they going to? Is Buffalo going to be able to keep up with that attack? They had the second highest graded safety duo last year in the NFL, so they return. That's not going to be a problem for them. But you're losing somebody like Tre'Davious White, like I said. The reason why that safety duo was able to be so good is because they don't have to worry about the one side of the field or even half of their coverage side. They can kind of leak over if they wanted to.
Yeah, but look at the losses on the Rams. I'm curious to see with the Rams losing Odell and losing Robert Woods and Van Jefferson's apparently injured as well. Like there's a lot of targets to lose, and especially with these suspicions of Matt Stafford having arm problems as well. I'm curious to see what the passing game looks like with all those people out right now, or missing, I should say, from last year.
And
I can say that I think it's Fugazi. I think that this is like a coaxed up story. I don't believe that Stafford has any like elbow issues. And like I agree with what you're saying. Like interesting to see where they're going to go with missing those targets. But we do forget how good Allen Robinson was supposed to be at one point in
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you hit on the head there about these injuries, right? We had OBJ, we had Robert Woods, we had Jefferson now, and Bosa came out. Nick Bosa, sorry, came out this week and said something about the turf and that being an issue and how the players, when is the NFL going to realize that? Guys, I'm not praying for any injuries by any means, but we're opening up the season. It's week 1. It's in a turf stadium and a stadium where we saw OBJ go down on like very early in the game, right, for LA. So and early on in the season, there's typically a lot of injuries. I mean, these guys aren't used to running full speed, right? So I'm interested to see how that goes. And if there are any big name injuries, is Bosa going to be somebody that's echoing his story again a week later, all over again?
Yeah, it's possible. But it's not like the turf is like it was when they played in 2001 either, though. So like I know that turf does cause a problem, but it's not like it's the greatest show on turf type of turf.
time. Right.
The AstroTurf, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was glorified cement at that point in time. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a quick giveaway because we've already had somebody working their way through our chat here. So if he's still on, or I don't know if he's gone to practice, John Hudson, for being the first person to comment on the show, is going to get one of these. Going for 2. It's a camo with an orange print. Probably our most popular one, but that is on the way for you, John Hudson.
And it's hunting season too, so I think you're going to fit right in, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? If he doesn't want the camo, then I also got a couple bucket hats with his name on it, but I didn't think his big melon would look right in a bucket hat, so I figured let's get this man a snapback. Let's be respectful of all sizes and make sure that that big melon has something to cover it as he's getting out there for hunting season or coaching season, whatever he's got. Yeah, there you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there you go, John. Glad you love it. We'll make sure that you get it as soon as possible. Looking around at both defenses, really, when it really comes down to it, are you expecting any type of a run game from these offenses, or is this going to be just a passing show?
I'm interested to see on Buffalo. Like, I don't know how much work James Cook's going to get early, but I really want to see what that guy's got because, I don't watch a ton of college football. You guys know that, but yeah. I was watching last year and I didn't realize. Like I was watching that guy play, and I'm like, God, he looks like Dalvin Cook, and I didn't even know it was Dalvin Cook's brother until they announced it afterwards, right? Because I was watching him, like he runs just like him. It's we don't know what goes on with that backfield, with Singletary and Moss, and it's hard to know with those two guys. So I'm interested to see if he gets any touches early and to see what he's got. But on the other side of the ball, they don't run the ball very often. It should be just a passing showdown. But I would like to see James Cook in action to see what he's got.
Well, I mean, and like the Rams, though, like that's okay. So I'm going to counter that. The last time, guys, that Buffalo had an opening game rushing touchdown by a running back was Mike Tolbert back in 2017. So, right. I mean, that's Mike Tolbert, man.
Played for Buffalo.
Yeah, 1 year he played for, but that was the last year that they had an opening game rushing touchdown. So I'm interested. Wow. They're going to want to break that curse. But that being said, I mean, it is the air show at this point, right? Josh Allen's got the bullet. They're going to put 4 touchdowns in the air. It's not a problem at all. On the other side, though, the Rams haven't been able to run the ball the way they want to. Their players have been injured, right? They had Darrell Henderson was gone for the first, like his whole rookie season, essentially. Cam Akers got lost the entire year last year. They got him at the very end of the season off of the IR. So I feel like right now they've got that. Now they're going to have their offensive line is not going to be nearly as strong without Whitworth being on the left tackle, right? So they're going to certainly have to get a groove there. But I think that this is the opportunity they can kind of work their way back into that McVay. What he wanted to do was run the ball a little bit more and have that stable of running backs. As the season goes on, is he able to do that? I don't know, because they haven't been able to show their durability. But I think that early on that they're going to try and establish that run and not show the pass attack and open up the plays and show people on film what they're going to bring to later in the season.
Yeah,
there's too many coaches out there that have their playbook, man. Like they're going to have to show some surprises late, right?
There's going to be, I mean, a team like surprise players are going to pop up in this, guys that you don't even know. And you know what? Josh Rundle's probably going to break down one guy, so I'm going to leave him alone. But for the Rams, a guy to keep your eye on tonight is Tutu Atwell. 2nd-round pick last year, hurt all of last season. They actually held him out of the preseason games in order to make sure that he was healthy for this game. He's not going to be a guy that's going to get 10 targets, but he's probably the kind of guy that gets 2 or 3 targets and still gets 75 yards and a touchdown.
Well, and back to the running game too. The Rams got a new guy in the middle linebacker that's not too bad at tackling as well with Bobby Wagner. So I'm sure he'll have something to say about the run game there.
Yeah, and we'll dive into this game a lot because we have some guests coming on. But before we move on to this next part, which is a little bit more of a gambling part, I want to make a quick announcement because I enjoy talking to Rick and Kaylin on Thursdays. So we have decided that every single Thursday, the boys are going to get together, and it's going to be called After Further Review. That is going to be a 7:15 to 8:15 show, basically a counting down to Thursday Night Football, and that'll get started next week. But we might as well get that out there now that we're going to do that. Long time in the making. This thing has been a conversation that started at a Westminster locker about 17, 18 years ago, and it just will not stop. So we will definitely be doing that on Thursdays. Before we bring in Jake from Coolbet, I found a really interesting stat. I'm not going to share it with him because he works for the books, and we don't want to tip him off, right?
You want to slant him, huh?
Yeah, exactly. This year, home teams, there's 10 of them that are underdogs. That is the most in NFL history. So if you believe in home field advantage, now is the time to get out there and make those bets with Coolbet. And it's pretty unbelievable to think that of the 16 games that are going to be played, 10 of the home teams are not favored.
Well, I mean, okay, so here we're going to talk about home field advantage. I mean, before you slip into the next topic there, I mean, briefly, it wasn't in the rundown, but I would love to add it. Like, what do you guys think is going to happen with the 12s, man, over in Seattle? How are they going to greet Russell? Is it going to be, yeah, nice to see you, buddy? Or are they going to boo him out of the stage? Like, and then, Pete Carroll comes out today and says, I'm just going to follow the 12's lead. Whatever way they go is the way that I'm going, right? Wishy-washy Pete.
I think that we should save that because we do have Jake coming in 1 minute, and we want to make sure that we stay on schedule. So we definitely have some week 1 conversation to get into. So that's a teaser. Kaylin just dropped what is called a teaser, and here comes Jake, our main man from Coolbet. So first and foremost, Jake, we appreciate that Coolbet is willing to sponsor events like this, and obviously they're willing to give back to the community. So we appreciate that, and thank you. And hopefully they don't take it out of your yearly bonus this year.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't think they'll be taking it out of my bonus, but I'll have to double check with them just in case.
Yeah. Yeah. So people that watch the show, you're used to seeing Jake on here. Anybody that's new to the show, Jake runs all the social media and all the content creation for all of Coolbet Canada. So busy guy. So we appreciate him taking the 15 minutes here to share how to take down his employer, because that is the dream of every single person in the world. How do you take down your employer? And you actually are in an industry that you can, and do it with a smile on your face.
Yeah, I've been trying to take down books for years, and it's not easy. So yeah, just take some time, and got to do the research. So
no doubt. And we did a little bit of research, not as much as the sharps would do, but our going for 2 parlay, as I've said before, but you still got time to get out there, get to Coolbet Canada and check it out. It's each quarterback is going to have a touchdown pass. Dawson Knox with an anytime touchdown, the total score to go over 49.5, and Josh Allen to attempt more than 30.5 passes. That's paying you at a 5-1 clip right now, or plus 400 for any of the people that are out there looking at the book. So make sure you get out there and hit that. But we're heading into Thursday Night Football. This is the kickoff. You're the expert, Jake. What are the best bets tonight? Like, I know, as a Patriots fan, you have to skew your Bills hatred here, but lead the way.
Yeah, I've struggled with this game all week because of the Bills factor, and I have a lot of friends that are Bills fans that are on the Bills. So it's been tough to kind of put my fandom aside and try to make the right bets. But I like Knox for a touchdown. I know that's in the parlay, so I'm on that tonight. I'm also on Allen Robinson. I think he's off the board right now, but I like him for a touchdown as well. Something about the new guys coming to teams that I like them to get a touchdown early. Allen Robinson, I think he's going to have a great year with the Rams. I think last year underutilized in Chicago, and I think this is going to be a huge year for him. And then I actually did end up taking the Rams at plus 3.5. I bought the point juicy at minus 147, but I think this is going to be final score wins, and hopefully I'm on the right side of that one. So those are my best bets for tonight's game.
Yeah, and I would say for like the history of Bills, let's hope it doesn't come down to a kicker, because if it does, Bills fans have been through enough to deal with that kind of stuff. How about we like to obviously draw as much traffic to the Coolbet site as possible. And one thing that was kind of introduced last year was the Bet Builder. Do you have any bet builders going on for today, or like would you just take some of those ones that you were just talking about and kind of put them together?
Yeah, I have a separate one. Teased a few numbers around to make it more to my liking. This one's paying at plus 400 on the Bet Builder. It is Rams plus 7.5, so you got that nice 7 number if they do lose by a touchdown. Over 44.5, I thought that was a nice little number. I think it's about 6 TDs and a field goal, so hopefully there's some points. I think you guys have the over in your parlay. Cup anytime. I don't know. Guy seems automatic. I think you got to expect him and Stafford to connect for 1 tonight. And then I have Allen Robinson over 5.5 receptions or 6+. I think obviously I'm hoping Cup gets in the end zone, but I think he's going to see a lot of the focus. So I think Robinson can go off and be that nice second option for Stafford tonight. So that one's paying plus 400 on the Bet Builder. And I don't know, I think it's pretty reasonable. I'm sure there's a loser somewhere in there, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, those are the ones, right? Like you think like, yeah, there's nothing here that I can lose, and then the most obvious one's gonna like miss for whatever reason.
Cup's not getting in the end zone tonight. I'm not. I can already call which one is gonna lose.
Yeah, Sean McDermott's gonna go for 2.
You really hurt my fantasy right now, Jay. Come on,
to score 8 points.
I want it too. I want it to happen. I want it to happen.
Yeah, there is money on the line here. I also enjoyed Pat's kind of homer parlay there that he threw up with some special odds on there, because who wouldn't want that? But we might as well share that one too. He's got Josh Allen to have a passing and rushing TD, him to go over 279 in passing yards, 34.5 in rushing yards, and that's paying at plus 750. So I don't think that is unrealistic either, and that made me nervous, but I bet it either way, because you can't turn down good value. But when I look at that, I mean, luckily the guy works there, and that's why he probably gets these good odds, right? Because there's no way that like somebody off the street can get those kind of odds.
Yeah, exclusive to Coolbet. It's the Josh Allen parlay, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's something that we have going right now. Our exclusives, and I guess I'll plug them right now. Pretty much daily for the most part. We're doing everything. It was some heavy baseball there while we were waiting for football, but you'll see a lot of primetime stuff now, some Sunday exclusives, Monday Night Football exclusives, different stuff like that. So really excited with how those are going. And we actually hit one this week, Bichette over 1.5 bases and game over 8.5. So yeah, I mean, it's you never know. Parlay betting, it's risky, but it's high risk, high reward, right? So yeah, check out the Coolbet exclusives in the Coolbet specials tab on the site.
Yeah, and I think it was Bruce Arians that said no risk it, no biscuit. So that's how we like to ride too. What about like futures bets that I mean might still be out there? Is there something that we should be keeping an eye on?
There's a few on the board. Obviously, there's some still out there, probably right until kickoff here. I like the Eagles to win the NFC East. I'm buying on the Eagles this year. I think a lot of people are big on the Eagles. I think what they've that another year with Sirianni, and I like Jalen Hurts, and they added A.J. Brown, and then the defense, they added a few guys. And I don't know, I think they could make some noise. The Cowboys, you can never really trust them. So I got the Eagles to win the NFC East. Chiefs over 10.5 wins. I think Chiefs are being actually underlooked this year, which is pretty surprising. I think Tyreek Hill leaves and they think everything's going to go to shit, but it's Patrick Mahomes at the end of the day. I'd be very surprised if they don't have 11+ wins and likely win that division. I know people are high on the Chargers. they want to see what the Broncos can do. But I think at the end of the day, the Chiefs have been together the longest. I trust that team more than anyone in that division. And then Carr, over 25 and a half passing yards. New offense with Josh McDaniels. Obviously, it's one of my guys from New England. But he was slinging it last year, 4,800 plus passing yards last year. And he got a new target in Devontae Adams. I think he can have a big gunslinger type of year. So I'll take Carr on his over passing yards.
Good pick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. And to Bobby Chenier out there, we do not post FanDuel odds in our group chats. That's keep it to yourself, Bobby. Keep it to yourself. Yeah, no, I like all of those. And one thing like you said about the Chiefs. By the way, you pissed off both these guys in your conversation. You didn't even realize it. Kaylin is a huge Tennessee fan, and I was sitting beside him when AJ Brown got traded. And Ricky is a Raiders fan, so telling him the Chiefs are going to be good and the Chargers are going to be good is hurtful to him. I guess
Denver. He didn't even get mentioned in the conversation.
I know, the division's tough. That division's probably the toughest division of football this year. So I don't know. I feel bad. I didn't know you're a Raiders fan, but I don't know.
I am not on the Jalen Hurts fan train at all. I am not there. He's a good fantasy quarterback. That's a good thing for him, though.
Though he had 7 touchdowns called back last year due to penalties, the most since 1991.
Wow.
7 passing touchdowns that he could have had on the board that were called back by a penalty. So kind of a cool stat.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. That is wild.
Yeah.
What about, we're looking ahead to week 1 because obviously, like, whatever money we lose today, we're going to chase and try and make on Sunday. And I guess we got Saturday of college football to probably, figure out what we're going to lose there too. But what do you think for Sunday?
Yeah, I was looking at the board. The first one that I've been thinking about for about a week now, or maybe a couple weeks, Julio Jones anytime TD. I think Tom's going to find him. That's the kind of thing Tom does. First game with his new team. And even though Tom has his own issues going on, whatever's going on there, but I think Julio's going to find the end zone. I think they're in prime time too against Dallas, so I'll take Julio for anytime TD. Panthers money line. I'm going Mayfield revenge. I think Panthers at home. I think they're a 1.5 point favorite. I don't know. I think I'll take them. I don't know what's going on with the Browns. Obviously, they have pieces, but the quarterback position right now with Jacoby Brissett, I'm just not too sure about it. So I'm going to take a little Baker Mayfield revenge there in week 1. Homer pick, Pats plus 3.5. They always struggle with Miami. I know that, but I don't know. I think the Pats, I think everyone wants the Pats to be bad, and I think they can put together a half-decent season for what they have there. We'll see, though. Obviously, I'm optimistic because I'm all. And then Chargers, Raiders, over 52.5 I have as well. I think I saw the line. I was like, this is a gunslinger game. I think 3 of the last 4 have cleared that number, no problem. So, yeah, I think I'll take that with those 2 teams. I think that's going to be a lot of passing and a lot of points.
Yeah, and something to keep in mind, I kind of read up on this just before we came on. Underdogs of 6.5 points or more in week 1 are 42-26 since 2005. So if you're a history guy and you like to base it on history, which I have a friend that every time I say stuff like that to him, he's like, well, I got a paycheck one day while I was eating pizza. Does that mean every time I eat pizza I get a paycheck? I'm like, you're stupid. Like that's the dumbest, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But yeah, if you believe in history, that is definitely like something to look at. And ironically enough, the Bengals are 6.5 point favorites against the Steelers. So obviously that means the Steelers are going to win.
Is that how you came across this stat line and the history behind it?
You tell me you don't try and convince yourself before Sunday comes of why you're going to win. History is on our side, Kaylin.
Okay.
All right. Who is, and I'm going to ask these boys later, but I'm curious what you think. Who is this year's Cincinnati Bengals? Everyone's going to think is shit, and they're going to jump out of here.
Yeah, I went down the list, and I got to about a point in the list on the Super Bowl odds list where I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to go anywhere lower than this. And I saw the Vikings. I think the Vikings would be my team if I had to pick one out of there. I don't think Kirk Cousins is as bad as people think he is. He obviously has his moments late in games when they need one, and sometimes he doesn't always show up. But they're plus 3,300 right now to win the Super Bowl, plus 1,200 to win the NFC, and plus 240 to win the NFC North. I mean, as much as it's Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, they did lose Devontae Adams. It'll be interesting to see kind of what that looks like. They're expecting Lazard to take a big jump. But I think the Vikings could be that team that kind of come out of nowhere. I think they have a new coach in there right now. So maybe early on it'll be a little bumpy, but I think they could find their groove. And I think it could be one of those years where we're like, wow, the Vikings were a lot better than we expected. So that's the team that kind of caught my eye when I looked at the board.
Yeah, and that goes back to, I don't even know if this parlay is still live on the Coolbet site, but it was another Coolbet exclusive that was from The Hedge, I believe.
Yep, it's still there.
Yeah, so most passing yards in the season, Kirk Cousins. Most receiving yards, Justin Jefferson. And Rookie of the Year, Dameon Pierce. And it's paying like plus 100,000, right? Like it was
playing
like
heavy odds.
Yeah, I think I only threw like $20 on it, but like the payout's like 20 grand. Yeah, it's wild. Like I could be talking myself into stuff, but like, look, that doesn't seem unrealistic to me. Even if the Vikings suck, Cousins is going to throw a lot. Jefferson's, I would say, is the top 3 receiver in the league, and Pierce is everyone's darling. And what else are the Texans going to do but hand it to him and throw it to him short because they can't pass protect?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Feels right. I was going to ask you something else, but I forget now. How about you going to any games this year? You going to watch anything in person?
I went to a few last year.
Buffalo, right? Yeah,
I went to that crazy Buffalo one. I went to Titans game, actually, Titans Chiefs. They won at home in Nashville there. And I went to Browns Ravens, the game Lamar got hurt. And they had the backup, Huntley. I think he came in. So I had a few last year that I really enjoyed. I'd love to go see Brady in Pittsburgh. That's one that's caught my eye. It's expensive because it's Tom Brady and no one knows when he's going to play his last game.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't got to see him play, so I'd love to see him. Pittsburgh, not too far. And then I'm going actually to Bills Browns November 20th in Buffalo. So that one I think just about set in stone here. We're just waiting to book the bus now, I think. So that'll be a good one.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm going to see Brady Mahomes week 4.
Yeah, that's sick. That's exciting.
Wow. I'm probably going to the Raiders in Seattle, hopefully in November, because the Raiders only play in Seattle once every 8 years, and I'm close to Seattle, so this is my chance here to go see the Raiders in Seattle. So.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, any chance you get to watch Geno Smith play quarterback that's must-see TV. You need to get there and pay that price.
Fuck yeah, that's why I'm going, baby.
All right. Jake, we appreciate you taking the time. Obviously, enjoy the game. Happy betting, and anytime you want to come back on and shoot the breeze and give us some winners, we will definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, boys. Best of luck with the betting this weekend, and let's just win everything. Why not?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's clean sweep, and then we need to work on Jake's resume, and then we'll
yeah,
get him.
exactly.
Yeah. All right, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, boys. See you later.
Later.
All right.
Some no technical.
No technical issues yet, and we are about halfway through, so I'm feeling pretty good. Definitely time to give something away, and I'd say let's give away one of our child can packs. So maybe Liam can drop the child can link into the chat again for people that want to either go and donate their funds or donate their time, whatever you want to do. There's lots of information on that page of how you can help. But I definitely have some t-shirts and water bottles to give out. And to a guy that we blasted in the middle for playing on FanDuel, Bobby Chenier, let's get you a t-shirt and a water bottle, courtesy of our friends over at Child Can. Like I said, make sure that everyone that's heading over there, it's much appreciated, and keep that money flowing in. And September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay, so you talked about the Super Bowl darling. Do you want to have that conversation now, or do you want to come back to the...
We can dive right in. I had it at the last piece, but if you want to play spoiler alert, let's do it.
Stop. We'll come up with something at the very end. So I know that a lot of people are buying into this Detroit hype right now. They sold out. I mean, it's amazing. It's the first time in 6 years they have a home sellout for the first game, and everybody's showing up to it, and everybody's buying into the Dan Campbell stuff. And I know that there's some people that are buying into that Baker Mayfield might finally resurrect his career down in Carolina. I think he's gonna have an okay year.
They said the same thing about Sam Darnold last year.
Yeah. I'm buying
Still
into
seeing
the
ghost, baby.
I'm buying it. Yeah. Well, speaking of ghosts, man, I'm going to New York. I'm buying into the Jets. I'm buying into the Jets right now in a division that I think uh, the Bills are going to have it. I'm talking about a team that can be a wild card team that can surprise some teams coming through the season. They don't have their starting quarterback right now, but they got a game manager in Flacco. He's surrounded by receiving talent there. They got we mentioned stable running backs. I feel like I'm going to keep saying it over and over again. They got a great group of running backs there. They got a decent offensive line. They put money and draft picks into the defensive side of the ball. I think they're that team that can make that big jump and catch a wild card and maybe catch some storm going into the playoffs. Zach Wilson, he gets a few weeks off to kind of see where the offense goes and trend more into that, practicing on the sideline. And maybe he gets eased into the game. Maybe they're already up a few games by the time he gets there,
Yeah, well, we had our fantasy draft last night. Yeah. I never thought in a million years that I would take two New York Jets back to back. But it just so happened that Elijah Moore dropped so far in our draft. I couldn't let him sit there anymore. And, we with Breece Hall, we don't know exactly what the carrying duties are going to be between him and Carter. But with Michael Carter still sitting there so late, it seemed hard not to take both those guys. It is kind of weird to say that the Jets have a lot of offensive pieces because they really haven't had a lot of offensive pieces since Braylon Edwards days. So,
well, it's crazy. Today, the rumor comes out that they're looking to potentially trade Corey Davis a few weeks in or floating around the trade deadline. They got a wide receiver group. They got Garrett Wilson. If this kid takes off, holy shit, right? They got a lot of firepower down in New York.
He's small and he needs to be thrown open. He's got a lot of speed, right?
Well, it's the same as Elijah Moore. I look at Elijah Moore as a really young and don't blast me for this because he's got a lot of games to make up, but he runs routes and the way he plays the game once he has the ball in his hands, he's AB. He really is an AB lookalike. I know, hey, you're gonna blast me, but the guy's route running is amazing, and once the ball is in his hands, his yak yardage is awesome. He can just make people miss.
Well, I could see that, yeah, because I remember a period of time where it was Mike Wallace was the number one, and we were wondering who the hell this AB guy is, right? So
yeah, that's right, yeah.
Well, you guys were wondering. You guys were wondering when Mike Wallace walked in free agency. I said, "Don't worry, we'll be okay."
Oh yeah, I'm just saying those first couple years, I could see the comparisons. That's all. That's because we didn't know how good he was going to be at that point.
No, that's fair enough. And I mean, Antonio Brown is a 6th round pick. Even if you make a couple catches in a playoff game, nobody believes in you until you get to your next contract, essentially, right? You have
which I don't think he's ever going to get to again.
No, you know what? That guy's
or what?
You know what? That guy, since he got hit by Vontaze Burfict in the 2015 playoffs, has just not been right. And it's unfortunate, but he's gone through a lot of stuff since then, and wish him well. You don't want injury to happen to somebody, but who knows? Do you guys want to pick our Super Bowl and pick our winners, and then bring in our fantasy guru, and then we can finish this thing off with a lot of Week 1 talk?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Do you guys have your Super Bowl winners? Because I have them sitting in front of me.
Go ahead, Shane.
You guys go ahead, because I haven't even had a chance to really go over it myself, but I'm just going to take a couple flyers, and you guys go ahead first. I'll take a quick look here.
So I know that Josh or Chad, one or the other, put them into the chat. I can't remember, but one of them took Bills Rams, and I believe the Bills to win. And I'm actually going to say Bills and Bucks, because it is time for the Buffalo Bill fan base to rewrite history. Now, what better way to rewrite history than winning a Super Bowl against Tom Brady? I think that would be not only that, but it's going to guarantee that Tom Brady comes back for another year, because he's not he is that kind of guy that will not allow that to fly. But what I see is a 34-31 game, and that is correct. The Bills kicker is going to win it on a last-second field goal.
Wow.
Yeah. There it is. Shot called.
Wow. Well, okay. So, go ahead. Yeah, you got your picks, man. Go ahead. You're excited. I know you were. Go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying, hopefully, like I said, they don't bring Scott Norwood out of retirement for that, but but you go ahead.
Scott Norwood does not deserve that, Rick.
All right, so you're gonna
lace it out, okay?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was gonna say. So
Dan Finkel out here kicking for the Dolphins.
So
or Ray Finkel, not Dan Finkel. Go ahead.
You're not gonna like my AFC choice. I don't think they're gonna have I think they're supercharged and ready to go at it again. I think the Bengals.
Tennessee?
No, I think the Bengals are the AFC choice here. Looking at their schedule, they play a lot of weak teams. Like they play the NFC South, so they can take advantage of Carolina. I don't think is a very good team. They can take advantage of New Orleans and Atlanta, which I think is not going to be very good either. They just got to get out of their division, right? And then if they can split a couple of games with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and then sweep Cleveland, which I don't think is out of the realm of the question. I think that the Bengals can really kind of ride the wave into the playoffs. They definitely got an easier schedule than the Bills. Looking at the NFC side, I mean, this is where we talk about these top-heavy teams, right? So I don't want to pick like one of those top-heavy that the Bucs or the Rams or whatever it may be. I think that this might be a season that the 49ers. I just think that I know Trey Lance has got a lot of question marks, and maybe they go back to Jimmy G, but they still just have so many things like pieces that are there on offense. Their defense is incredible. I mean, they just get stronger every single year, so they can certainly lean on their defense if need be, if they need to kind of grow through the growing pains of Trey Lance. But let's not take it out of it's not out of the question either for Shanahan to throw in type of some sort of package in there that gets Jimmy G in the game here and there when needed, right? So I think that they're a team that can come out of the NFC West, especially with I don't know what Arizona's going to have as far as offense, but they have no receivers. Even Rondale Moore, apparently, he got hurt again today. So they're going to be pretty hurt for the first half of the season. They're relying on AJ Green, which I know you guys love, right? And Andy Isabella. So I think that's a team
and Hollywood.
That's right. And Mark, yeah. Wait, is he getting suspended or what's going on with him? I don't even know.
They haven't suspended him yet.
Oh, okay. So, well, whatever happens. Yeah. So that's my pick is San Francisco. I think they're a team that can certainly come out of the West and own the weak NFC, really.
So you're looking for like a rematch of the 89 Super Bowl, and I believe it was Boomer Esiason getting his ass whipped by Joe Montana.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that they scored in the 50s and the Bengals didn't.
Ooh, ugly.
Yeah.
Well, the Bengals, I mean, they got the line finally, right?
Look, I think it's fair to say that history is not on the Bengals side, and if you're a history person and you're a Bengals fan, you might as well turn the show off because there is absolutely no fucking chance that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be in the Super Bowl this year. I think that they're going to be a playoff team. They might even win the North. Like, I'll give them that. They might win the North, but they don't have the kind of team that is going to get them to where they needed to be. They went on that like Cinderella darling story. There's a reason that
they barely beat the Raiders.
Yeah, there's a reason that they call them Cinderella darling stories. And I don't believe that the St. Peter's Blue whatever the hell beat Kentucky in the NCAA last year. I don't believe that they're going to be in the conversation for the NCAA basketball tournament this year. So for all of those reasons and every bit of history, and because Boomer Esiason is not the quarterback, I'm going to say they have absolutely no shot of being in the Super Bowl. But you're allowed to make your pick. I mean, do what you got to do. Don't bet on it. I wouldn't bet on it, but that's all right.
Yeah.
That's exciting. We're gonna roll out like our pick'em challenge, and obviously we're all gonna be a part of it. We're gonna be using Coolbet odds, but making like kind of fake bets. But we can give more detail for that. For now, I think we've had him waiting in the bullpen, and he's itching, and that leg is shaking.
I didn't get my pick quick. I haven't given.
Oh, you didn't pick it? Sorry, Josh. Hold tight.
So
Josh,
I'm gonna go on a limb here. Kel's gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna take the Colts going to the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna go Colts and Bucks, and I'll take the Colts to win the Super Bowl.
You want to talk about no fucking shot, Shane. You want to talk about no shot. All right.
So Matt Ryan goes down to Indy and says, fuck you to Tampa. I like it. That's a story. It's watchable. I get it. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that he's an upgrade from what they had last year. That team's looking really good. They got good young receivers. Great, obviously, probably the best running back in the league. And the defense is getting better. So I don't know. I like the pick. It's a weak division. I'm not afraid of Tennessee at all. And away we go.
All right. It is time for our friend Josh Rundle to join the party here. And Josh, I know I'm going to see you in a couple, probably 25 minutes. I do have a little gift for you when you get here, courtesy from the boys of Going for Two. Just for taking the time to come on here, and we appreciate it. As we can see in the background there, Josh is clearly a fan of the Bears.
Go Bears.
Best day of the year. How's all you boys doing?
Yeah, right,
It's
it
a good show
is.
so far. Been watching.
Yeah, man, we're good. We're out here. We're excited. You know, I just cracked my second Miller Lite, so I'm feeling like tonight's gonna be a good night. You're gonna swing through. We're gonna watch a little bit of ball, make a little bit of money, and keep rolling. But not everyone in the world bets, but I think everyone in the world plays fantasy football. I think that's fair to say. I will tell you my absolute annoyance with fantasy football is the person that comes up to you and's like, "Hey, do you want to see my team?" I'm like, no, motherfucker, I don't, because I'm not in your league. I don't know your league settings. I don't know who's in your league. I don't know how many teams it is. I don't know how you did. Honestly, I don't. So keep it to yourself. I'm happy that you do it. Yeah, I'm happy that you do it.
Liam.
I love it. But just keep it to yourself. But yeah, Josh, you go ahead. I had to get it off my chest. It was on my chest. I had to get it off there. But this is your segment, brother. Start him, sit him, week 1. Let's roll.
All right. Well, before we go start 'em, sit 'em, I thought you mentioned fantasy advice. I thought I would just give a couple tidbits. I'm not going to give away all the pieces of the pie because that's what makes this thing special, right?
And we're all in a league together, and we all drafted together last night. So
exactly. So number 1, I'll share, which we've talked about before, but for anyone who doesn't know who watches this, rule number 1: never start a Thursday night player in your flex position. This is a very important one for anyone playing fantasy football. The reason is simple. If you start that player Thursday in your flex and that person in your actual position goes down with injury Sunday morning, you then have to replace that player with a running back instead of having the flexibility of choosing between a wide receiver and tight end. So I wanted to reiterate that because it's very important. People still do it all the time. Please stop being stupid.
Live story. Last year, I did it, and I didn't get like a whole speech from Josh. I just got a message that said, "Shane, you're better than that. You shouldn't have started that." That's all I got. I was like, "Fuck, he's right."
He did it to me 2 years ago as well, so we all learned this from Josh. Fantastic.
Yeah,
it's okay. I'll keep reiterating it so the next person learns, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah, it's good information.
Yeah, and we don't have a lot of time for this, so I thought I'd whip through because you know me, we'll get talking for hours, right? So we'll keep it nice and light. Number 2, utilize your IR spots, either at the end of your drafts or at the start of the season, right? So you want to pick up guys on the IR, slide them into that IR spot, then use that free spot to pick up another player on your waivers. Wait and see what happens. As we all saw last night at our draft, my last pick of the draft, Jameson Williams, right? Do I think Jameson Williams is going to be a rock star? I don't know. He could be. I get a free shot at finding out, right? And the nice part is when that becomes active, I don't have to start him right away. I'm just locked for waiver moves for a week. I can afford to just let him sit there, see what he does week 1, and then make my decision, right?
Yep.
That's fair.
I took your advice on that one with Brian Robinson from Washington because that's what I took him as a flyer at the end as well.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic.
Definitely not. It's not worth taking a shot on that
guy. Hey, too soon. Just because he was.
Soon?
That was funny.
Shit.
My comment to Ricky right after is a Raider fan. He's either a Raiders fan. He's either pick the guys who shoot people or pick the shooties. One or the other. Right? I appreciate that. Rule number 3. This is pretty good. Follow the Vegas rule. And this is props to my buddy from the U.S. for coming up with this one. Vegas rule is simple. When in a jam between deciding who to start, ask yourself this. If you had a $10,000 bet right now on which player is going to have a better game, who are you betting on? Simple as that. That's who you start. You don't look back. No point in stressing about these decisions any more than you need to. Okay, if it works out, it works out. But just ask yourself the best decision at the time, make your decision and roll with it. Right? Number 4, trade for stars, not for depth. Okay, all those 2-for-1s and 3-for-1s aren't so straightforward. You're also getting the ability to pick up 1 or 2 players from the waiver wire who could provide you some fantasy value.
Sounds like a familiar trade, Josh.
Yeah, I know those ones.
These guys will all be great for your bench. Just give me Devontae Adams. Sure.
What was it for? What'd you give me Devontae Adams for? Is that I know it was Devontae Freeman.
Devontae Freeman and 2 other guys. Another guy that got hurt right away. Will Fuller. I don't know. It was all a bunch of cabbage.
That was to go right after my draft. The pick with Steve for Derrick Henry for Miles Sanders and some other bum because he likes the Eagles so much. But anyway, let's jump into start sit 'em. And again, we could chat about each of these guys afterwards. Number 1, who to start? Your studs. Don't get cute. Trust your draft, right? Don't start getting cute week 1 or 2, right? You drafted this team. Have some faith. See what happens, right? In terms of actual players, though, a couple questionable ones at the start. I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson, number 1 versus Jacksonville. All the reports, not that good. Not that good. He's going to be their number 1 kick returner, which normally isn't a job for starting running backs. But as we know, Brian Robinson had a little car trouble, got a little bit in a tiff. That's not quick recovery for him. He's already off crutches, I heard. So that's good news for Brian. He should be back at some point and looked really good when he was there. He's going to get work, a lot of work. J.D. McKissick will obviously get some third down work and is a pass catching back, but I don't remember being too far away from last year, Antonio Gibson being drafted near the top of the second round, right? So we seem to forgot about him, and I just hope he doesn't fumble the ball. As long as he doesn't do that, he should be good.
Right.
Anyone thoughts on Antonio Gibson before moving to the next guy?
I mean, for me, I would say, like, if you look at Commanders players, it's either Terry McLaurin or nobody else.
Like, doesn't it feel weird saying Commanders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so good.
I actually stopped.
Commanders.
I stopped myself, and I was almost going to say football team, which is amazing because for our entire lives they were called something completely different.
I'm really interested to see how Wentz does at the line. Like watching him when he was in the division last year, one of the things that he was famous for doing was checking. Most quarterbacks check into run plays, right? Kill. He checked into pass plays, and it wasn't until
Reich
Reich really
no look interceptions. Actually,
yeah, that's
he's
what he checks
bad.
into. Yeah, and it wasn't until like Reich really finally took him and was like, "Stop doing that kind of shit," that they started running the ball with Jonathan Taylor. So. Like, are they going to continue that path? Are they going to let him check at the line? Is he going to be that player now in Washington? Or are they going to force feed the ball? Because I think they really do have to run the ball there. Like, what else are you going to do? You can't trust him.
I don't understand how Gibson dropped so much. The guy had a great fantasy year last year. Now he's just chump change. I don't understand how he
I've
dropped
been grabbing him everywhere.
You have a shitty camp, and that's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
From where he's being drafted in leagues in like the 7th round, like all day. You know what I mean? Give it to me. And if I don't, if I have too many shares of a guy, I'll stay away from him. And the one thing I like about our one league, which I shouldn't mention, our league is dedicated to our dear friend Richard, who passed away. Props to Richard. He'd be very proud to see us all doing this right now.
Go Dolphins, baby.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we do our draft the last day before the season. I like that tradition. I like to keep that going because again, we can accumulate all the knowledge that we've had over the drafting season and all the information we need before the season starts. Latest possible day to do it, which is a fantastic thing.
Yep.
Number 2, Travis Etienne. I added him in there. Kid's got a ton of potential, draft capital. He's getting a long leash, and obviously, as long as he's healthy, James Robinson starting the year off really shaky ground after suffering that ACL injury late last season. He's going to get a ton of work, as we saw in the preseason. I think he got like 95% plus of the snap with the ones. Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting we're going to see a potential superstar being born.
Finally gets to play with his boy Trevor, right? I mean, that was the hype last year. He was going to be able to partner up with him, and he goes and hurts himself for the whole season, so he couldn't really do it. But finally, maybe we get to see that 1-2 that's there, right?
Yeah, and Urban Meyer's not going to be around to see it.
Yeah, well, he's going to be working at Fox for College Game Day or whatever they're calling it out there. Now, earlier I had brought up Tutu Atwell. What are your thoughts on Tutu Atwell? I mean, he's not a start tonight, but like, what are your thoughts on it? Really?
He's not rosterable. Sure, he can make a play or two. You know what I mean? He's got speed. That's really his biggest benefit. He's a speed demon, right? So he can definitely stretch a defense. I'm interesting to see, obviously, what he does first. But I think there's definitely better routes to go. But he's definitely got someone to keep an eye on. You're right. He could make some splash plays.
I mean, I got him in like a 22-man dynasty.
And you say I have a fantasy problem. You're playing in 22-man dynasty league.
That's what I mean, right? Like, whoa.
That's intense.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I got a sick rookie receiver crew coming in, and look, the roster's out there. I got Aaron Jones. That boy's gonna catch a couple passes. Nick Chubb. You know, the team's stacked.
I love leagues like that just sometimes don't make sense. Like I was in this 12-man dynasty league. It's a 2-quarterback league. Huh?
What's that?
So can I see your team?
No, you can't. No. But like if you think about the math there, it's 12-man, 2 quarterbacks. That's 24. If you add a backup, that's 36. There's only 32 starting teams in the league. How does everyone have a backup quarterback?
Sorry. Let me clarify. It's a 22-man roster and a 12 manager team.
That makes sense. I was curious what you're talking about. You're talking about 22 teams. What's going on?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Somehow we made a schedule with 22 teams. But yeah. That's on me. Yeah. Keep going.
You're gonna like my next one, Rick. Start of the week: Derek Carr versus the Chargers. This thing is gonna be a shootout. It's gonna be
we
great.
know how the last game went. Yeah, last year.
So our gambling expert also said that's his best play. One of his best plays is that game in the over. So right now, after him saying it and you saying it, seems like too many people are onto it. I'm going the under. I feel yeah, too many. Yeah, it seems too obvious. I'm going under.
This is going to be the year of Devontae Adams. You're going to see him. He's my pick to be the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football. This kid is going to eat. Carr is going to pepper the hell out of him. Obviously, if they get cute and start double covering him, this is when Renfro and Waller are going to eat. But you're going to see a big year for targets for Adams. I'm obviously a little bit sad as a Packer fan to see him go. But if we would have given him the contract the Raiders gave him, I would have been furious because I don't want to be paying $30+ million to a 32-year-old wide receiver, right? Is we don't have the money to do that. You guys do. Best of luck. Carr and Adams, if for people that don't know, went to Fresno State together their senior year. They actually connected on the nation leading in targets. I think he caught 145 passes or something stupid like that in college in like 12, 13 games, which is stupid. So they've been best buddies ever since, even though he got drafted in the Raiders, he got drafted in Green Bay. They've still stayed super tight.
Well, they worked out as long as they were in Oakland. They were working out together in every offseason.
Yeah.
So
and Josh, you said best friends, so like we're gonna have to talk about some of our friends, and of course we've been talking about it all day. The reason that we're here today is to raise money for ChildCan. So Liam, I'm sure Liam's paying attention. He's gonna redrop the link for the website in the chat, and make sure that, like I said, if you can't donate funds to it, maybe you could donate some of your time to help run some of their events. And that's how they make their money. They're out there doing great work. So the least that we could do is just try and draw a little bit of attention to what they're doing. And, you know, weird segue, but how about Fantasy Bus?
Well, I appreciate that. I'll drop my last start of the week. We're going to jump right to busts.
Yeah.
We're going to go number 1. This is a questionable one, and I could be very wrong with egg on my face, but I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson versus Green Bay. Okay. Now, this is a hot take. Kaylin, close your mouth. Listen to my reasoning. Okay. Reasoning is Jair Alexander, in my opinion, is one of the best cornerbacks in this league. He is a shutdown elite corner. As long as they put Jair on Justin Jefferson, it's going to make a huge difference. Green Bay has the best defense they've had since I've been a Packer fan. Obviously the number 1 ranked defense in 96. We won the Super Bowl is a different story with Reggie White. But as a realistic adult Packer fan, this defense is the best ever. Okay. We're fully healthy. I'm very excited to see what that happens. They're going to obviously turn to Dalvin. I see Irv Smith Jr. making some plays. I see Adam Thielen making some plays as well. KJ Osborne's a fantastic number 3 option. I just foresee Justin Jefferson laying a potential egg. I'm talking maybe 5 catches, 50 yards, no touchdown, if that. So obviously one play could make the difference there, and I could have some egg on my face, but hey, that's what I'm here. I make hot takes. Busts are hard to predict.
So you're saying to start him or not start him?
Not start him. Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
He's your
obviously
big guy.
But you want to trust your draft, so you're going to start him. I'm just letting you know. Don't be upset when he lays an egg. Okay. Number 2, I'm going to go with Matt Ryan versus Houston. I think it's a good fit as a team. I just see this being a blowout and JT getting tons of work. This is simply a pick due to low volume as his first game with his new team. Great running game against a walkover opponent. So,
and realistically, if like Matt Ryan was your drafted quarterback, you're in trouble anyway.
Absolutely. But it's just some people may be tempted because Houston's such a bad team to go after him. But in my opinion,
I hear you. I am quite certain that 50% of people out there that drafted him are in a position to start him, because you might have drafted him and taken Deshaun Watson and thought, you know what, maybe I'll do this, utilize my IR spot, but Matt Ryan can carry me for 11 weeks. He probably can in fantasy. He probably can in regular season, but probably not in fantasy.
You kind of answered my question already, Josh, but I was going to ask you based on our league. I picked Derek Carr second. I took Jalen Hurts first. And I was going to ask you who you would start between those two, but I think you kind of answered it with Derek Carr.
I think you're allowed to be a homer this week, Ricky, and it's going to work out in your favor.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Number 3, potential bust. I'm going to put James Conner versus Kansas City. It's always expected KC's going to put up a lot of points. Definitely see that, potentially happening again in week 1 and playing from behind. Kyler will be passing a lot more. And I also see Eno Benjamin getting a ton of work in the pass catch and roll. We're going to see what happens, but I see Arizona potentially abandoning the run pretty quick this week, and Eno Benjamin getting a ton of work, as the reports say he's forcing himself on the field. So, and I personally not a huge James Conner fan. I haven't really drafted him in any of my leagues this year. But that's just me.
I think I have him in a couple, but that's because like old Pittsburgh homerness, and the guy just got paid. He did have like, you know, not an amazing stat year, but he scored a lot of touchdowns last year. So even if the guy gets 800 yards and 12 touchdowns, I mean, I'll take him.
Isn't he just like he's like a more athletic, smaller built Lendell White? That's what I look at him, right? Like he's never going to break up.
I was trying to think of who that other running back was you guys had the other day.
Smash and Dash, 2008.
Smash and Dash, the tequila drinker. That man ran an entire season, over 1,000 yards and like 15 touchdowns and a torn meniscus. He tore it in week 2, and nobody even knew until the end of the season. That's insane for how big he was. And he'd be a drunk every single day with tequila. It wasn't until Fisher made him stop drinking that he took the downspin on his career.
I only remember him from the 2006 Rose Bowl, best college football game.
Oh best championship of all time.
Absolutely.
College
never. It'll never be replaced.
I think we're transitioning to sleepers, right, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, as we expected, naturally we're going to go over time, so let's not worry about timing here. Sleeper time for week 1, and then I know you got a little take on Trey Lance.
I'll make it quick. I'm going to go sleepers. Number 1, Isaiah McKenzie. Tonight, Buffalo, wide receiver. This is the new and improved Cole Beasley.
I told you guys that he was going to be on this. This was the other guy I was talking about. I was like, I'm going to leave him for Josh, but I knew that he would be on this guy.
Every time this kid has gotten a chance to be put in the game, he has performed at a high level, right? Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, going to get obviously a lot of coverage from the top guys. I see Isaiah McKenzie having a phenomenal year and being one of those guys that if he's available right now in your draft or your waiver wire, go pick him up immediately. He's not available in any of the waiver wires I'm in, unless obviously it's a shorthanded league and there's too many good players to choose from, right? But Isaiah McKenzie, keep that eye on that. Number 2, James Robinson. This guy just clearly defies the odds. I know I'm kind of, hypocritical based on my Etienne take earlier, but he was hurt all last year. Robinson just comes in and performs, and he, is pretty much back to full health after suffering a really significant injury. So it just takes one Etienne hamstring for James Robinson to be a bell cow again. And we know what he does with the work, right? So if he's available, keep an eye on him, especially if he's going to be out at a game or 2. He's one of those guys you can slide to your IR position, see how it works, right? Number 3 is kind of a hot take. Isaiah Likely, tight end, Baltimore.
That's not a hot take, baby. That is a good pick right there.
Yeah, just you know what? He could be the 3rd receiving option in that offense, and
he could be the 2nd guy. He could be the 2nd.
Could be. I love Rashad Bateman. I think he's going to have a great year. But yeah, Isaiah Likely is great, and he caught all 12. He's 12 for 12 in the preseason. All 12 targets he caught. And again, he's someone you can get for free at the end of your drafts, and he's likely on pretty much 90% of waiver wires. I think he's 10% owned right now. So that's one to take. And I got a super deep sleeper for you. I'm going to say the name and tell me if you can tell me what team he plays for. Ready for this? Tyrion Davis-Price.
No.
Nope.
Come on. I got them all. Yeah. Okay. Running back, San Francisco. Played for LSU last year. He's a rookie. 6'1", 220, right? Trey Sermon was cut. It's because of this kid, okay? Ahead of him in the depth chart are Jeff Wilson Jr., a.k.a. Made of Glass. And then we got Eli Mitchell, which obviously was banged up here and there, back forth. He's got no draft capital, Eli Mitchell. That job can be taken away any given point. And Shanahan's a crazy fuck. You know what I mean? He's going to do whatever he wants to do. He's going to plug in the guy that works. He's just like his dad in Denver, whether it's Alandis Gary, whether it's whoever the hell he puts in there, they're going to produce if they do the scheme. Right. This kid looks great.
Reuben Drones.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. And San Fran is going to run the shit out of the ball. Trey Lance is going to run the ball. And this is a perfect segue in terms of talking about Trey Lance in a minute. But I think Tyrion Davis, this kid is going to be good. Like, just wait and see. Deep sleeper. I think he's only 3% owned right now.
Yep.
I got an eye on him. I've already picked him up in a couple leagues, just kind of sitting on him. And some leagues, my team's not, bad enough to drop somebody to pick him up yet. But I think I just spilled the beans on a couple of my leagues. They might go pick him up, but we'll see.
yeah, exactly. And you know what? Like, this was something that like I've been watching and kind of trying to pay attention to. Seems like every time we have a mobile quarterback, we're attempting to pretty much overdraft them. So, you look at a guy like Trey Lance, and he's probably in the 7 to 9 round like range. Probably 9 would be a little bit too conservative. But is the 8th round too quick to draft Trey Lance when we're not even sure he's going to start the whole year?
It's a great question. Personally, I know ADP, is what we kind of base off of, but I've just completed, 7, 8, 9 drafts. Trey Lance is always there in the 9th or 10th, right? And he's someone that I've picked up in a couple leagues and relying on to be that guy. Do I think he's being overdrafted, falling in the 9th or 10th? No. The 7th, maybe a bit of a reach, but this kid was drafted 3rd overall, right? He was drafted for a reason. They have they have Jimmy Garoppolo, and they're deciding to move on from him, even though this guy got him to a Super Bowl, right? Or a game away from the Super Bowl, regardless, right? So they obviously clearly believe in him. The reports are good in camp. He's super mobile. I think he averaged like 60 rushing yards a game. That's what the offense needs these days, especially in San Fran, that's built on running the ball. Trust me, Colin Kaepernick haunts my dreams as a Packer fan. So I think that I was listening to before you guys were talking about those teams like the Cincinnati Bengals that could be a surprise. Even though San Fran made the playoffs last year, I think no one expects them to win the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Trey Lance gives them the chance to do that. I'm telling you. I heard you pick Kaylin. I'm just like, that would have been my pick. I'm telling you, with the weapons there, Brandon Ayuk, I'm telling you, the rapport he's got with Lance, he's going to bounce back after whatever the fuck happened last year. He looks like amazing and looks like the number 1 target. Debo Samuel's going to do all of his thing and get his work. They get this running game figured out, and with this rookie who I think is going to spike some stuff, and Kittle's amazing, man. Every time you watch that guy healthy, all he does is make plays.
Now he's bagged up already again, though. It's like,
that's the thing. Like,
too. But
that one feels like it's going to linger around. Like, I agree, and you know what? I think that as football fans, we want Trey Lance to be good, and I'm wondering if we've willed ourselves to want him to be good enough to get to this point. But
well, I got to ask you though, like, do you think that they're going to be better than a top 13 offense with Trey Lance? Because I just saw today that when Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, they're a 13th overall offense right now, which isn't the best. But if I'm the top 15 offense, as long as you play good defense, you're going to have a chance to win.
And their defense is stellar.
There's big boy Chenier. Finally, we got a real Chenier that doesn't use FanDuel.
Okay, so he last year Garoppolo threw for 3,800 yards, right? Like in today's NFL, that's Tannehill numbers you guys make fun of for not being a passer, right? Can he Can he throw for 3,800 yards? I think he can. Can he add another 700, 800 on the ground potentially? He probably can. Like that's where I think he kind of puts them over the edge there a little bit offensively, a little bit further than that 13th, maybe puts him in the top 10 as a result of his legs.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you know what? Like you never know, and that's why the old saying is that's why they play the games. Josh, I know you got a little bit of a drive to get over here, but quick take on the Packers, and then we'll finish off the show, and I'll see you in about 15.
Well, do we have 45 minutes for me to talk about my team here? You know I'll do it.
You have
is there quick takes with the Packers and Josh ever?
You have exactly 60 seconds.
So what I will say is just going back to the obviously recent playoff heartbreaks that I've been going through, whether it's having 2.5 minutes left in the game down by 8, the 8-yard line at 4th down, not going for a touchdown with the best red zone touchdown offense scoring team we've ever existed. From that to last year losing a playoff game as the number 1 seed without allowing a single offensive touchdown. I don't know how many different ways we found to lose, but we found ways to lose.
You got to go back to the onside kick, bud.
Yeah, let's not. No, that's the most painful loss of my career as a Packer fan. Ricky, thank you for bringing that up, and fuck you. Anyway, 2014 can eat my ass. Anyway, let's go back.
Wow.
Let's go back. Okay, so after watching the game last year, the first drive, Devontae Adams tore him up. They got 3 balls. They got wise. They double covered him. We didn't have receivers that could separate. We needed that. We got Sammy Watkins, who all reports say he looks awesome. Roger says he's making plays every day, and he's super excited about it.
2 weeks.
Drafting Christian Watson was fantastic decision. Also, week 1, Sammy Watkins, watch the fuck out, right? That's all I got to say.
So I said anyway, 2 weeks.
Romeo Dobbs, kid looks awesome. Super, super athletic. He's been getting separation all over the place. We still got Randall. We still got Lazard. I'm not too worried about the wide receivers. That's not what's going to make our team go. What's going to make our team go is getting David Bakhtiari back, Elton Jenkins back. They're 2 all-pro linemen back that weren't there last year. When you watch A.J. Dillon run through a hole that doesn't exist, he's still pushing forward for 5 yards. Wait till you see what happens with this kid gets a hole that he can actually run through. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones have the chance to be the only 1-2 running backs in the same backfield since probably the Smash and Dash that get nominated for the Pro Bowl. The only thing is they're not going to be able to go because they're going to be playing in the big dance. So this defense is the best on paper I've seen in a long time. Everyone's fully healthy. We got Gary, who's taken a big step. Our D-line just got reinforced with their draft picks. Devondre Campbell, who we got last year, is just turning like the best linebacker in the league. Then we draft his clone in the Walker kid from Georgia. Our secondary is amazing. I'm super excited. Watch out for Green Bay's defense this year. They have potential to rank as the number 1 fantasy.
You now know every player on the roster in Green Bay. So thank you, Josh, for taking the time. And we appreciate it. I'm going to see you in a few. So get your ass in your car and get over here because you're going to miss kickoff. And the boys will finish off with – yeah.
Thank you, Going for 2. Love you guys. Yeah. Take care. Have a good night.
Awesome, man.
Later, dude. We'll finish off. We got about 4 minutes left. So let's just say outside of our own games, I mean, clearly Tennessee playing – I think the Giants,
yeah.
And Vegas and the Chargers have gotten a lot of love on here. I've made it very clear that the Steelers are playing the Bengals. But pick a game that's outside of your game for what's going on.
Okay, so I'm going to buy – there's 2 games that I really do want to watch. I'm buying into the hype of what's happening in Detroit. I do want to see what a sellout crowd looks like, if they can get behind and make it loud enough that the Eagles kind of get disoriented with some of their new look pieces. So I am going to tune into that 1 o'clock Detroit game, right? Other game I'd like to tune into is that Kansas City Arizona game in the afternoon. That looks like it's probably Tennessee plays in the afternoon. I hate that, the 4 o'clock games. But if I was to watch another game, then that would probably be the one I'm looking for, Kansas City, Arizona.
Yeah, I'm really interested in Chicago and San Fran. I don't know about Chicago, but I got a really weird feeling about them this year. I think they got potential to make some plays and win some games and surprise some people. And going on the road, like you said, a 6.5 point underdog at home in Chicago with some questions in San Fran still to see how they're going to perform on offense. I really like that game, and as well. I am interested in the Bucs and the Cowboys. It's always fun to see Jerry lose in Jerry's world in opening week in prime time. Curious to see how Tom plays without Giselle. So there's some headlines there. That's a game, and obviously I'm interested in Denver and Seattle just to see, like you said, how they're going to treat Russell Wilson going back there. But I'm just happy to watch football, boys. It's going to be great. I can't wait to just sit there for 12 hours on Sunday and just be fat and watch football.
Yeah, and you know what? So Rick, you stole mine. Sunday Night Football was kind of what I was gearing towards. 1 o'clock clearly I'll be watching the Steelers game. So 4 o'clock it'll be the Cardinals Chiefs. But yeah, how does Tom Brady play with all that background noise, missing 11 days of camp because he was getting walked out? And no
Gronkowski.
Yeah, no Gronkowski. Does he have Kyle Rudolph? I personally think this is the first time that I can remember as like a football fan that the Dallas Cowboys didn't have a little bit of hype going into the season. So I feel like all the hype has gone to the Eagles and, they're looking at this game. They're the home team. They're the clear underdog. I'm all over the Cowboys.
The number 1 target. So
I'm all over the Cowboys. I think that losing the number 1 target means that they're not going to have to throw it as much, which means Dak is going to be able to use play action and run the ball more. Pollard and Zeke. And you know what? This will combat what Josh was saying. I think that Pollard and Zeke will both be Pro Bowl nods because they are going to be the best 1-2 combination for running backs this year. And I would expect big things from the Cowboys. I don't know, 10 wins is kind of the big thing right now, 10-7, but I'm going to say 10-7, and the Cowboys are going to shock the Buccaneers on Sunday.
I just not a believer of Zeke right now, but we'll see.
Well, you know what? He can pull up his little belly top and see what's up. It looks like he's been keeping off those St. Patrick's Day floats, so he's not going to get suspended or anything.
Yeah.
Last thing, just before.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
I was gonna. I'm closing it off. So if you got a thought, you might as well get it in now.
Well, I wonder, is there going to be any other shocking happening this weekend on Saturday? Maybe when my boys in Burnt Orange take down the Crimson Tide.
Okay, like, look.
Come on, Shane, buy into the hype, man.
You're looking at probably like 56-7.
I know.
So
listen,
as long as it's not 55-0.
I'm excited for Sarkisian to be able to see where we stand offensively for the next 3 years, coasting into the SEC.
Look, I mean, everybody has seen Sons of Anarchy, and they know what Marilyn Manson did to Juice in the Cell. I would call Marilyn Manson Alabama, and just call your shot right now. It's over. Kaylin, don't watch the game.
What a reference!
Don't watch it.
What a reference. That's right.
So, on that note, let's make sure one last time we check out ChildCan. Make sure that we're supporting them, whether it's via finances or you just donate some time or volunteer. We definitely want to make sure that September is a big month for them. This is their awareness month for child cancer. Obviously, nobody would ever want to be in that position. So the people that are working there diligently to make sure that the parents are as comfortable as possible is absolutely amazing. Like, that's work that we couldn't even consider. And we definitely appreciate what they're doing. Appreciate Coolbet for coming through big and making sure that this event could happen. And you know what? We got NFL football to go watch. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure you're checking out the socials, Instagram, Facebook. We have a TikTok. I've never been on it, but I hear it's pretty cool. And there's lots of stuff going on. So make sure you keep up with us. We'll have Going for Two on Mondays, after further review on Thursdays, and we'll have a hell of a season. So looking forward to it, boys, and we will touch base next week.